Hello my lovely ladies, welcome and welcome back to the channel. Now in today's video we are going to be talking about what makes a guy husband material. Now there are a bunch of videos out there talking about how a woman can be wifey material and how she's not wife material and how she is wife material and how to be looked at as a wife and all this stuff. But in all honesty, we need to really be focusing on what makes a guy husband material, because there are so many women who get married to men and feel like they made a big mistake, and we need to address that before we even get into what makes a woman a wife, because women are filing for divorce way more than men. So that shows that women are finding themselves married to men that they should have never been married to. So this is important. Please lock in on this video because you are going to need it. So let's get straight into it. So first things first, this is just going to be a general video. Obviously, we all want different things in life, and if you find that some of these things really don't resonate with you, leave it. It's perfectly fine. But if you do want to work with me one-on-one so we can really lock in on really what makes a really good husband and really have someone to work with, I'm always here for you guys. You can reach out to me. My information is in the description. So first things first, you need to lock in with yourself. You need to tune in with numero uno, which is yourself. You always gonna hear me say this, no matter what, you need to know how to connect with your higher self. You need to listen to your intuition, because you are going to know. I know that sometimes people feel like, I can't lock in, I don't know what I want, I don't know. But if you just sit and really lock in with self, whether that's meditating, whether that's, doing some affirmations, whatever it is that you need to do for you to really just tune in, then do it, because your intuition is going to tell you if the person is right for you or not. Point blank, period. Now, if you guys are religious, then, lock in with God, lock in with the Most High, lock in with the spirit that you pray to, so you can actually get the answers that you're looking for. But I will definitely say your intuition is going to let you know every single time if a person is right for you. It's just up to you on whether or not you are going to listen to it. So I definitely suggest that every woman really learn how to listen to the voice within, because that will literally save your life. So number one, right off the bat, you need to listen to yourself. You need to tune in and get in touch with your higher self. If you truly are thinking about marrying someone, you cannot do it without locking in. You cannot do it without truly, listening to that intuition and going by that, because marriage is not a joke. It's not a game. And if you do not want to be one of those women who have to divorce a man because of any of these reasons that I'm going to state, then you need to lock in. Okay? All right. Now that we got that out the way, let's move on to the next one. So another very important thing is that you need to see how you rank in his life. This is very important. A lot of women know this already, but we are just going to talk about it. If his mother ranks higher than you and you guys are contemplating getting married or engaged, that's going to be a problem. That's going to be a problem for many reasons, but the main reason is that he is asking you to become his wife. He is asking you to become part of his family. He is asking you to create a new family with him. That is what marriage does. That is what marriage creates. So if you and him are supposed to be creating this new family where you guys are the most important things because it's your family, then why would anybody outside of that rank higher than you? And that is very important. And I think that some men are just so used to bad relationships and they don't trust women, so they feel like, well, I'm gonna just put my mother ahead of any woman, and my mother comes first. And that's all great in theory. Obviously, our parents mean so much to us, but the reality of it is even legally, once you're married, this person comes before your parents. This person is your family. This person is your numero uno, okay? Now, that may rank a little different. Say if he has kids and the kids aren't with you, right? And he's like, hey, my kids come number one in my life. That's a completely different situation. And, you take that if you want to take that. But if it's a conversation where my family or my friends mean more to me than you do, then I wouldn't even suggest marrying this person, because they are not ready to be married. Because marriage means that you are going to become each other's number one. And if he can't get down with that, that's going to be an issue. So I would highly suggest that you got to see how you rank up in his life, because if it's not number one, it's going to be a problem. I guarantee it. So another one, you need to ask yourself, is he a generous provider? If he is not a generous provider, you are going to have some issues. This has come up more times than not with women who are with men who are, relatively wealthy and have money and all that stuff, but the guy is cheap or frugal and he is not generous. And that is going to be a problem, especially if you are not that way. If you are not cheap, if you're not frugal, if you are generous in your own way, then it's going to be a problem if you're with someone who is like that, because you may think, well, he has money and we're gonna have a great life together. But if he is not willing to spend that money and he's very wary of spending that money, then you're gonna have many problems down the line, especially if you're not like that, and you're not going to be happy with him. You're going to be looking elsewhere because he's not really going to be fulfilling that generosity that you need him to. And that is not just only wealthy men. Any person can be generous, and it's important to know if a person has a generous heart and they want to give to you and they're not going to be complaining about it. It's their pleasure to give to you. So I definitely think if a man is not generous and he's frugal, nothing wrong with him, I would say. But I would say if you're not that kind of person and you don't want that kind of person, I don't care how much money he has, it's going to be a no. It's definitely going to be a no, because the worst thing you can have is a person who has money and is not willing to spend it on you with anything, or if they do spend it on you, it's going to be with a fight. And I refuse to fight over money like that. So I definitely think that if that person is like that, maybe not husband material. Another big thing, this is very huge, is he responsible? This is very important. You definitely need a man who is responsible and a man with a plan for himself and a plan for his family. If he is not responsible and he's not responsible, and I mean not responsible like he's in serious debt, he doesn't, care about how he lives, what his house looks like, what his goals are in life, he's, stagnant in his career, he doesn't really want to do better, he doesn't see better for himself, he's really just a Debbie Downer or negative. If any of that is true in this situation, I would say he is not husband material. And I just want to make this clear. Just because a guy is not husband material doesn't mean he's a bad guy, doesn't mean any of that. I'm just saying he is not husband material. You should not marry this guy, but you can do whatever else you want with this guy. But again, if he does not have his life in order and you are going to marry this person, you are going to be marrying a person who doesn't have their life in order, and that means you are not going to have your life in order. And if you're a person who prides themselves on having a plan, being responsible, like me, I'm a Capricorn, so you guys know that is going to be very important to me, then I definitely don't think that you should be marrying this person. I don't care if you knew them forever. I don't care if you're madly in love. Marrying a person who is not responsible is going to be the worst thing ever. I'm guaranteeing it to you, because being married is it's such a big commitment, and it takes two people to really bring a life together. And if one person is very nonchalant and doesn't care and doesn't really want to put in any kind of work to achieve anything together or do anything together, it's going to be a problem. It's going to be a problem when you're looking to purchase big things, when you're looking to start a family. You just have to choose someone who is responsible. I'm not saying they have to be, uptight or they have to be buttoned up, but they definitely have to have their house in order. They definitely need to get their life in order, because you're going to be involved in it, and if it's messy, then you're going to become messy just because that person's messy and you're marrying them. So make sure that the person that you're thinking about marrying has their life in order and has a plan. Does he respect you or even like you? Now, this again, very, very huge to talk about because it's all over social media. So many women feel disrespected by their husbands or their partners or whatever, and they feel like the person doesn't even really like them. The way that certain men speak online, I can guarantee they do not like women at all, and it's very apparent. And I definitely think that if you're thinking about marrying a person, if they don't respect you, this marriage is not going to go well. You need that person to respect who you are, respect the decisions you make, respect the life that you choose to have, respect your family, respect the things that you find important and the people that you find important. They need to like you, right? You can't be with someone, especially if you want a long marriage, with someone that you actually don't even like. And so many men will marry women and still not like the woman. They will not like that woman. So you will find issues down the line because the man actually doesn't like you and you don't like him. And that's a big thing too. If a person is with you and you're like, hey, like I love him, but I don't know if I like him, and that saying goes the same for him. If he loves you but doesn't actually like you, that's going to be an issue. A way for you to know if he doesn't like you is if he doesn't really hang out with you, if he's really just using you to, be a lover but not a friend. And that's going to be a huge indication, just simply right there. If he doesn't consider you one of his closest friends, then that's going to be an issue, because that means he's going to lie to you and he's not going to be loyal. And that kind of bleeds into the next thing I wanted to say. Like, if he's not loyal, he is not husband material. I do not care that people say all men cheat and all this other stuff. If you want to marry someone, if you want to lock in with someone, and ever since you've been with this person, they have been a cheater, they have cheated on you, they're not trustworthy, you got to look through the phone, you got to do all of this, why are you even getting married to them? You could just stay in the relationship if that's what you want to do, but you are not supposed to make a stupider decision like marrying the person, because he's not going to stop cheating, because you've already accepted the cheating. If you've already accepted the cheating, that's basically what the relationship is. It's an open relationship. Now, if you're okay with an open relationship, I don't even understand why you're going to get married. Like, what is even the point? Just to say that you're married, it's ridiculous. So a lot of men and women are in open relationships, meaning that they are with men who they know are cheating and they're okay with it because they're staying with them. They may cry and make a big scene about it, but they're not going to leave that person. So they are okay with the relationship being open. Why are you getting married? There is no reason for you to get married. Absolutely no reason for you to get married, unless it's really a business decision for you and financially it's going to benefit you. Then that's a whole different conversation. But if you are looking for a marriage with someone and you guys are building a life together and all of this stuff, and they are not loyal and they have a sex addiction or anything like that, like, let's be so for real. Why are we even doing that? Okay, I just want to make sure. All right, so that kind of goes into the next thing. If this man has an alcohol addiction, a sex addiction, a drug addiction, any kind of addiction, why are you getting married to him? Why would you set yourself up for that? Why in the world would you set yourself up to be married to someone that can't even get it themselves together? This kind of is what I'm talking about with, they're not responsible. If a person has a serious addiction that they have not addressed, that they are still living in their addiction, they have no space for you. You are not important. Their addiction is important. So I know a lot of women want to be there for people and they want to be the caregiver, and they feel like, oh, well, I love him, I care about him, and blah, 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 blah. And that's great. You can love and care about somebody, but you don't have to drag yourself down and drag your life down because someone decided that that's what they wanted to do with their life. Come on, we have to be better for ourselves and want better for ourselves instead of going through hell just just because you love someone. That actually doesn't make any sense. So I definitely think that if you are with someone that has any of those kinds of addiction, I'm talking any addiction, gambling, sex, drugs, any kind of addiction, you're gonna have an issue. Obviously, if it's a positive addiction, then I'm not talking about that, but I'm talking about something that, can ruin you too, just being with the person. Why would you get married to that person? I really don't understand that. It's weird to me. And this also goes for criminals. If the guy is a criminal, why on God's green earth would you be interested in marrying them? Like, I've watched Love After Lockup. I've seen the women's delusion where they're like, we're gonna get married and he's getting out of prison and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, why would you want that? If the guy is a scammer and he doesn't have legit a job and he's a gangbanger or he's just doing all this stuff, why would you want to get married to this person? Why would you want to ruin your life by associating with this person? You guys have to love yourself so much more than this person, because clearly you love them more than you love yourself, because there is no way I would ever consider marrying a scammer. Because a scammer is on their way to prison, regardless. A scammer is not a real person. A scammer is going to scam you and everyone around you. We already heard the stories about women who were married to scammers and got scammed and their whole family got scammed. And it's really that person's fault, because you knew he was a scammer. You should have knew when he was a scammer from the beginning, because let me tell you something. When I was out here dating and stuff like that, obviously I live in LA, there's going to be a lot of scammers, definitely. When I was around scammers, especially scammers around my age and stuff like that, it was like, okay, cool to party with, cool to hang out with, not gonna date, not gonna take serious. We're friends, we're cool, we're gonna spend your money that you scammed, right? But we are definitely not intertwining our lives together, because I am not going to do a bid with you. I am not gonna get involved with you. I'm not gonna do any of that. I'm not gonna ruin my life for you. Like, that is so weird. And I think a lot of women are just ridiculous, and they think like, there's some love story there that shouldn't be happening. And in reality, you're just ruining your own life for a man because you don't love yourself enough. So I know that's most of you guys are not thinking like that and are not involved like that, but you never know who watches these videos. So I just want to put it out there. If you are involved with a scammer, or if you're involved with a person who's involved in criminal activity, why are you getting married? Why are you even in a relationship with them? Like, I don't even understand how that works, because how could you trust this person? How could you lay down with this person knowing that they probably aren't who they even say they are? You don't even know their name. They could have a fake ID. You could be looking up a person and it not even be who they are. So definitely, if they are a scammer, criminal, any of that, no ma'am, definitely should not be dating, but especially not marrying. He is not husband material. Okay, another huge one that I see a lot is like a communication issue that people have in their relationships, where they're just not communicating and they're not connecting. This is going to be very, very hard. Like, if you can't connect or communicate with a person on how you feel, then we're going to have issues, right? If you're in a relationship with someone and you have problems with certain things and you're not able to talk to them and connect with them and tell them how you feel without them brushing you off or saying, you're over dramatic and stuff like that, if they're not taking you seriously, then why are you even marrying them? Why would you even consider marrying them? They don't respect you. They don't respect your opinions. They don't really care what you have to say. So why would you even set yourself up like that to get married? Because it's only going to get worse when you marry. They're only going to tune you out more when you get married. So there's actually no point for you to torture yourself. If they are not communicating with you, if they are not trying to hear it with you, whatever you have to say, yeah. Definitely not husband material. Definitely not someone you need to even be considering being with, okay? Another big one is he invested in who you are, and is he even attracted to you? I think a lot of the time people think like, oh, well, he married me, so he must be attracted to me. He married me, so he must be invested in me. Actually, that's not always the case. Some men marry women out of convenience. They marry them because the woman is a good provider. They marry a woman because she may be a good mother. They marry a woman because the family thinks it's the right thing to do. They marry a woman because, that's just the only woman there that will marry them. All of those things can be part of a reason, but it can't be the only reason. Now, if a guy makes that his only reason to why he's marrying you, then you're gonna have some issues. Then you're gonna have some problems. You need to make sure that he is locked in on you. He's well invested in you. He cares about you. He cares about your future. He wants the best for you. He wants to marry you. There's no question about it. He's invested. He's attracted. He wants this. And I think that is very important to know, like, if the guy is husband material to you, because again, these are all things if he's husband material to you, not if he was husband material to every woman, but husband material to you. Because the way a person may be with you is not the way he was with someone else. Like, for sure, for me, the way I'm in a relationship, in a marriage with my husband, there is nobody on this planet Earth who can say that they share the same relationship that I have with my husband when I was with them. That is just no way ever going to happen, because there was a completely different connection that me and my husband had with each other that got us to even become married. If we didn't have that connection and it was the same old, then we probably wouldn't have been married, because why would we need to? We're just repeating the same thing. Now, there are men out there that are truly in love with someone else and they wish they were with someone else and all of this stuff, and they may act like that. They may have cheated on you with that person. They may, you can feel it. And that's why I say you have to lock in with self, because you're able to feel if a person is truly attracted to you, invested in you, wants you, is truly with you because they love you and you are their first choice and their only choice. You're gonna know that if you're locked in to your intuition, because I'm telling you 1,000%, when a person does not like you and you are locked in with self, you are going to know. There's not going to be a question about it. There's not going to be a maybe. You're going to know. You're going to know, because you're going to be like, no, they don't like me like that. I don't care what they say. They don't like me like that. And I think that's very powerful, because so many men will lie and act like, it's one thing when it isn't. So I think it's important for you to decide. Never depend on a guy to tell you if he's really into you or not, because they're just not going to tell the truth. Especially if they want to sleep with you and all this, they're just not going to tell you the truth. They're going to say, no, I love you. I want to be with you and all this stuff. And then in the back of their mind is like, actually, I don't. So you have to lock in with self to know if that is truly someone that, is right for you. And you will only know that for sure is if you're actually listening to yourself and being honest with yourself and not making excuses for the person. Another big thing to know if a person is husband material is knowing, what does family mean to them? What does your family mean to them? What does it mean to be a family? And I think that a lot of people get in relationships with people who don't have a healthy relationship with their family, or they feel like their family issues are going to be resolved just because they are starting a new family with you. But honestly, I truly believe that family is very important, and if that person is not connected well with their family, and I'm talking about like their mother and father, their siblings, then you're probably going to have an issue, just because like, how you not get along with your mother and father, like, especially if like it's like not a real thing, right? If it's like petty stuff, then okay. If it's like drugs and stuff like that, then obviously there's going to be like some trauma there. And I'm not saying, you can't be with someone like that, but you have to, don't willingly take on someone's trauma just because you want to be in a relationship with them. I remember one of my friends, she was dating this guy, and he was pretty cool. He was fine, but he was a divorcee, and he had a child who had some type of like autism or something like that. And that was very unfortunate and everything, and he had to deal with it. It was a severe case, and he had to be there for his daughter and all that stuff, and that was clearly understandable. But I had to tell her, I said, well, knowing this information and knowing the type of person that you are, is that something you want to deal with down the line? Is that is that the lifestyle you want to go into? And that was a very real conversation I had to have with her, and she had to have with herself, because it's like, before you go even deeper with this person and you see all the baggage that they have coming their way and will go into your life, are you willing and ready to deal with that? And for her, it was like, honestly, no, it wasn't something that she wanted in her life and wanted to deal with, because that is his situation, you know, that's his child, that's all of what he has to deal with. And if she has a choice, which she did because she was just dating the guy, to not deal with it, she was not going to deal with it. And it wasn't her being selfish, it wasn't her being mean, it was her choosing to not have to deal with something that wasn't her problem, and she didn't want it to be a problem and want it to be something that she would have to deal with down the line. And I know a lot of women want to be, you know, kind souls, loving souls, and they see a person hurting and they see a person dealing with something and they say, well, you know, I'll be there for them, I like them, I want to help and stuff like that. But the reality of it is like, it's not your problem, it's not your situation. So if you're willing to dedicate your life to this person's problems, then okay, but most of you women aren't going to do that. So we're going to just be real here. We're not trying to be, you know, Mother Teresa here. We're just being ourselves and trying to live our best lives, because that's all you really could do. We don't have much time on this earth, and the time that we do have, we need to be happy with it. We need to be happy with the choices we made. And if a person has issues that they're dealing with, you are volunteering yourself to deal with those issues, then go ahead. But for me, you know, in the beginning stages, when a person is just getting to know you and you're getting to know them, you still have a choice on whether or not you want to even continue on once you hear all that they have going on. So just keep that in mind. I don't want people to be like mad about what I'm saying, because I know like everybody has their own issues, but we get to pick and choose the people that we want in our lives. And we do, in that circumstance, get to choose what other people's problems and traumas we want in our own lives and want to bring into our own lives. And if we have a choice, I hope we don't choose that. So another thing that's very important is, are you able to be your true self with this person? Now, this is something that will come automatically. You can only fake who you are for so long. That goes both ways, with the guy and with you. Your real personality is going to come out and it's going to show, and you need that person to see that and see, is this something that they like? Are they interested in that? Or they're like, ooh, don't really like the way you are. Now, I would say for myself, I am not the easiest person to deal with. My husband, you know, he's a saint to even deal with me sometimes, because I get real difficult. I am, you know, an inconvenience sometimes. I have strong opinions sometimes. I speak up a lot. I say what's on my mind to him. I'm really just kind of myself with him. I give attitudes. I'm not always happy, and I let it be known. So there are times where he's just like, oh my God, this, what are you gonna say? What's this? What's that? And you know, that's fair. I know that I'm annoying, and he accepts it, right? He knows, and he talks about it. He's like, you know, I still wouldn't have you any other way. Like, I like who you are. It's fine, right? And yeah, you may get on the person's nerves sometimes, but they need to see that so they can know if they're okay with it or not okay with it. And there's a lot of times where I'm very sarcastic, and that was actually one of the things that he actually liked about me, is when I kind of let my guard down and like kind of mocked him in a certain type of way, and he thought it was really funny. He brings it up all the time, and I'm just like, oh really, that's one of the things. And he's like, yeah, like I just saw your personality through that, where it was like, oh, okay, I like that about her. And I do think that you need to speak up for certain things. Like I'm just gonna speak up for myself, right? If there's something that I don't like, I'm gonna say something regardless if you don't like it, and regardless if you don't want me to say something about it to you, I'm gonna say it, because if it's involving me and making me uncomfortable, I'm gonna say something 100%. And my husband knows that about me. He could get annoyed with it sometimes, but he respects that about me, and he actually values that about me. So when he you know, asks me a question and he's looking for my opinion, he knows that I'm going to give him my real opinion. It's not going to be sugar-coated, and he's going to see a different angle maybe that he didn't see on his own. So it's important for them to show you who they are as well, because men will act a certain way, but the cracks are going to be there, and you need to see those cracks, and then you need to decide if this person that they're showing you in the cracks is someone that you want to marry and someone you want to be with. And if the answer is no, I don't like when they're like that, I wish they would go back to how we were in the beginning, well, the beginning was a lie. As long as you know the beginning was a lie and everything that they are right now is the truth, then you judge them on who they are right now, not who they were in the beginning, not who they said they were. It's who they are right now. And the final part that I want to discuss with you ladies is if this guy is able to provide the lifestyle that you truly want. This is very, very important. If you are marrying a guy that is living life in a way that you really don't want for yourself, if a person doesn't really like the things that you like and the lifestyle that you're interested in, they're thinking it's silly and, you know, ridiculous, then, you know, I want you ladies to be honest with yourself, because when you marry someone, you guys are living your life together as a unit. And when you do that, you want to make sure that your team is exactly the way that you want it to be. It's with the person that you want it to be, and you're doing the things that you want to do, and you're living the life that you want. That is so, so important. The vision has to be shared. And if you are with someone and the vision is not shared, they don't see it with that. Like, they don't want to say, if you guys don't have a home and you want to buy a house, and they're like, no, I want to rent forever, I feel like buying a house is stupid, and you're like, no, well, I want a house, I want this kind of situation, and they're against that, then that's going to be a problem. If you're the type of person that's like, hey, I want a big family and I want this kind of like family lifestyle and I want to do family things, and they're like, actually not with the family stuff, I actually just want it to be us two only. And I think those are the kind of things that you have to pay attention to, and you really can't bend on those things, because that's your life, right? And if the man that you're with doesn't want the same lifestyle as you, doesn't see value in it, then why are you even getting married to them? You're wasting your time with this person trying to convince him with your vision, when there's someone else who's like, oh yeah, I want that too. Oh yeah, that sounds good. Oh wait, hold on, I have never thought about that, but that sounds amazing, let's do it. That's the kind of person you want to be married to. You don't want to be married to a Debbie Downer. You do not want to be married to a negative person. You do not want to be married to someone who doesn't see the vision, because you are going to hate it, and that is what's going to cause you to divorce. And that's going to be very expensive and a headache and something you just don't want to deal with. Like I said before, these are just general things, but I just want you guys to lock in on self so you can actually start thinking about this and not just marrying someone just because they asked you, because it's your decision on whether you're marrying someone or not. They're asking you, right? We're not asking them. They're asking you, do you want to marry me? And it's up to you to say yes or no, because this is the most important thing in your life. So if you need some assistance with this, you can always reach out to me, and you can always see my course, which is The Feminine Way to Date Online. That is in the description. So I will see you ladies in the comments. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.